Okay, you can start, Divya. Hello.
Hello.
You can start.
Yeah. Sir, am I audible, sir?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very good morning, everyone. Okay. Very good. I, Divya, faculty member from Department of Business Management, would like to welcome our respected chairman, sir, principal, sir, and our honorable guest for today. On behalf of LCET, I'm truly obliged to welcome you. We are really grateful, Dr. Ashwini Kumar Bhallaji, for accepting our request to be the speaker for the occasion. Dr. Ashwani Ji, popular academician, writer, researcher, university appearer, gold medalist in MCOM, he holds many prestigious positions. He has been honored with many awards of excellence: gold medal, first position in MCOM, GNU Amritsar, Management Excellence Award by HP Management Association Shimla, Best Research Paper Award by Lovely Institution Figuara. We, with deep sense of gratitude, we welcome you, sir, and seek for valuable outputs from you today regarding the new education policy. With few words, we'll invite you all for today for this amazing session, which will be delivered by Dr. Ashwini Bhalla. Thank you, sir. We can begin with the session.
Thank you, Divya, for nice introduction. So, Honorable Chairman of Ludhiana College of Engineering and Technology, Principal of Ludhiana College of Engineering and Technology, Dr. Stinder, members of the faculty and students. Today, we are going to discuss a very, very important issue, which is concern to all of us as a faculty member, as a student, or as a citizen of this country, because this issue is related with our fate in the future. Education is one area, if it is ignored and if there is a redundancy in the education policies or redundancy in the implementation of the some factors which are required in the education, that is going to be very harmful for the society as a whole. So educational transformation is a need of the hour, and a society which ignore the educational transformation and do not take steps for the upliftment of the education, upgradation of the education as per the needs of the day or needs of the society, that society cannot work well. And there may be various problems in the society if the education sector is ignored. uh, in every sector, redundancy comes with the time, and education is not exception to it, because it affects our future, it affects the young minds. Therefore, it is very important that we cannot ignore this aspect. The environment is changing, attitude and behavior of the people is changing, technology is changing, and all this require that there must be upgradation of the education and its quality. The way we provide education to the students, that needs to be upgraded with the passage of time. Quality improvement in the learner's outcome is needed at all levels of education, maybe at school level or higher education or university level. There are need of assessment reforms which should take place from time to time, so that we can judge the quality of the our rewards which we are going to produce by providing the education. The most important issue is sustainable development by ensuring an inclusive and quality education. We have seen in whole India that there is large segment of our population which is not able to cope up with the education, and they are not in a position to get the right kind of education, and they remains unattended with the policies of education we are having. This new education policy, which is termed as national education policy, not new education policy, this has focused from early childhood care education to the higher education. And with the changing style, with the changing type of atmosphere, this has focused on the skills which are required for the future jobs. This has focused on developing, creating the creators of the job rather than job seeker. This has focused on multidisciplinary education, and this has also focused on the restructuring of our educational institution and promoting excellence through the internationalization. Accountability and transparency as learners improvement is also required. And this education policy, which is a 66-page document, and I term it as a pious document, is focusing on collaboration opportunity for industry players in the blockchain, vocationalization in schools and development of higher education pathways. And it has also focused on improved integration of vocational education, creation of hybrid vocational ecosystem, and increased market orientation of vocational education. And more importantly, because our India is embedded with the one kind of a culture, and we are embedded with one kind of values, this education policy is focused on the philosophy of Swami Vivekananda, Shri Aurobindo Ghosh, and Shri Rabindranath Tagore. Swami Vivekananda says that education is the manifestation of perfection already in men. It is the responsibility of the education that whatever manifestation of values, whatever the manifestation of perfection exists in the human mind or a human being, that should come out with the values of the education and with the focus of education. And education was not only collection of information, but something more meaningful. So it should focus on man making, life giving, and character building. Similarly, Aurobindo Ghosh focus on education should create dynamic citizens so that they are able to meet the needs of the modern complex life. We are facing so many issues and so many problems in the modern complex life, and sometimes we feel that human being is not in a position to settle down during this complex life, and they are facing problems. The reason is that our education policies or education system is not geared up to teach these kind of practices to the various learners, and they're not in a position to bring out such kind of perfections which are already in the human being. Guru Rabindranath Tagore focused on that education should focus on naturalism, humanism, internationalism, and idealism, and education should be imparted in the natural surrounding. With these concepts in mind, our new national education policy is focused on so many things which deals with all these philosophies. Maybe the philosophy of Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, maybe the philosophy of the Swami Vivekananda, and philosophy of Sri Aurobindo Ghosh. So now we'll be talking about how this national education policy of 2020 is going to foster innovations and creativity and ultimately create job creators rather than job seekers. So today's the presentation, I will be talking about the various aspects of the National Education Policy 2020, and we'll be discussing with you how this policy is going to foster innovation and creativity among the human beings. So as far as Jean Piaget is concerned, he has given a very important slogan that the principal goal of education is to create men who are capable of doing new things, not simply of repeating what other generations have done. Men who are creative, inventive, and discoverers. So our education system should be modeled in such a philosophy which can create creative human being, inventive human being, and a discoverer, rather than repeating the things which has already been done by our generations. Because with the one generation to the another generation, there are a lot of changes. Lot of things are demanded from the human being that they should discover, invent, and create so that the life on this earth is livable. So that's why the education policy should be modeled on creative thinkers, inventive thinkers, and discoverers, so that we can have a good citizens which can create jobs not only for themselves but for others also. So creativity, that is very, very important. When a human being is creative, it results in innovation, and innovation eventually results in the generation of intellectual property. Unless you are creative, you cannot innovate. And unless you innovate, you cannot create a intellectual property which can work for centuries for the help of the mankind for solving and easing their life on this earth. So therefore, our educational policy should be modeled in such a thing that every student who take admission in the educational institution, maybe in the schools, maybe in the colleges, they should be creative enough so that they can innovate and ultimately create intellectual property. If we look at the concept of Indian society, if we look at all the states we are having, there are thousands of communities living in India, including all major religions of the world. There is no religion whose people are not living in India. And they speak different languages and dialects, and they have their own food habits, different kind of professions, industries, handicrafts, traditions, and cultural aspects. Definitely, their taste and preferences will be different. Their attitude will be different. Their behavior will be different. And accordingly, you have to devise our education policy. Indian society, being multilingual and multicultural nation, had a bundle of contradiction held together by strong but invisible threads. In spite of multilingualism or multiculturalism, we are tied up in a very, very invisible thread, and our bonds are very strong. In fact, India is a nation in which we find unity in diversity. People from different caste and creed, religion and region, beliefs and assumption live together very happily. And in spite of repeated foreign invasions and the enormous growth in the population, Indians have professed remarkable personality. And the era of globalization and democracy of the 21st century are adding new feathers to the Indian society. So, in this glimpse of things, or in this scenario of Indian society, we have to model our educational system so that we can meet the requirements of the people speaking different languages, different dialects, having different kinds of professions, different living in different kinds of systems, having different cultural aspects. So we have to model our educational policy in such a way that the invisible thread which is embodied in our culture, that should remain, and we should tie it up as a unity, as a unit, one unit system. So Indian society with diverse educational need is there, and the role of education system in preservation of the society and culture, particularly it is very important in complex societies where families and other primary groups are not fully equipped to prepare the young for adulthood that is expected by the larger society. So most of the units of our families, they are not in a position to impart such kind of education, and here the role of the educational institution, it becomes very, very important. Secondly, education is concerned with all people and considered as a basic social need of the society. If this is ignored, definitely we are not going to have a good society in future, and there will be lot of problems in the society which we will be facing. So, my dear friends, the major challenge which is faced by the education in India is number one, achieving the unfinished task to the citizens, because there are a number of things which people need to learn. There are a number of skills which are needed to cope up with the society in which we are living, and that to cope up with the requirements of changing dimension. And cultural nationalism and nation building is an important factor these days, and here is a need to have a modern formal education. So, keeping all these things, the major challenges, the national education policy 2020 has been framed. and which ensure that the quality education is the base to measure the quality of any society. And a relevant education policy is the key to unlock the future of the young generation. We sometimes feel that when our students who are studying in the educational institution, when they go out after passing out the degrees, they don't find any path. They are absolutely blank where to go. There are a number of ways before you, but they are not in a position to select the right path. Here the role of education becomes very important, because the future of our young generation is still locked, and it is the responsibility of the educational institution, and particularly school and college education, that we must unlock the future of the young generation by providing the relevant education to the society itself. This National Education Policy 2020 has some acceptances. It is for the first time in the history of India that any policy has some acceptances about the dimensions of our society. And it has accepted that the world is under changing rapid challenges, changes in the knowledge landscape, with various dramatic scientific and technological advances such as the rise of big data, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, many unskilled jobs may be taken over by the machines. If we do not gear up to regarding the big data, regarding the machine learning and artificial intelligence, and do not change the behavior or the change the educational system, many of the unskilled jobs may be taken over by the machines, and there may be a creation of unemployment. So there is a need for a skilled workforce, particularly involving mathematics, computer science, and data science in conjunction with multidisciplinary abilities across the sciences, social sciences, and humanities will be in demand. Whenever we go to the industry, we find that people do not want only specialized person in the core skill areas. They want multitasking persons who is equipped with the multiple skills. So it is the era of multidisciplinary ability, my dear friends, and we must focus our education policy or model our educational institutions according to the requirement of multidisciplinary abilities. If we don't do it, this has been accepted by this policy that there is going to be very, very black days for the future. So there are certain new challenges and focus which this policy has accepted. Number one, there are challenges with the climate change. There are challenges with the increasing population. There are challenges with the depleting natural resources. We are observing that our energy resources, our water resources, our food and sanitation needs are not properly met. Our water level is going down, our energy is consuming day by day, and many resources of the energy are vanishing. So we have to focus on all these changes. With the change of the climate, with the increasing population and the depletion of natural resources, we are in a very grip situation, and this require a new skilled labor, particularly in the biology, chemistry, physics, agriculture, climate science, and social science. And now we are in a pandemic situation. Emergence of epidemics and pandemics will require collaborative research in infectious disease management and development of vaccine, and resultant social issues heightens the need for multidisciplinary learning. Critical and innovative thought is required, which can incorporate basic arts, crafts, humanities, games, sports, and fitness, language, literature, and culture in the curriculum. So this policy has a focus of all these issues while drafting the various kind of provisions for implementation in the future. The vision of this policy is to improve the quality of education by giving an equal space to creativity and innovation, and transform India into vibrant knowledge society. The present system of education, which we are observing in higher education or school education, we find that the creativity and innovation are missing factors. We are basically producing rote learners they absorb some kind of information while they attend the classes. After that, they vomit in the examination. But when they go out of this system of education, they have nothing in their hands. So this policy is very much critical about all these issues. And this has given an equal space to creativity and innovation so that a vibrant knowledge society in India can be created by transformation of educational system in the country. So, my dear friends, this national education policy is the first education policy of the 21st century, which is focused on revision and revamping of all aspects of the education structure, maybe regulation and governance, maybe creating new system aligned with the inspirational goals of 21st education, including Sustainable Development Goal 4 of the Global Educational Development Agenda, which is adopted by the India in 2015, and the emphasis on development of creative potential of each individual. We have various policies of 1965, policy of 1986, and then now we have a current policy of 2020. I don't say that policies of 1968 and 1986 were not good. They have somehow developed or delivered something which was the requirement at that time. But as far as the educational sector is concerned, it needs revamping at every minute and with the passage of time. If we don't change everything, if we don't revise or revamp all the aspects of the educational structure, then we are going to fail. So this national education policy is basically focused on revamping and revision of the all aspects of educational structure so that the millennium development goals or the global development agenda, which is adopted by India in 2015, can be implemented in full spirit. As far as the focus of this policy is concerned, it do not only focus on development, but it also focus on development of cognitive capacities of the human being, both the foundational capacities of literacy and numeracy and the higher order cognitive capacities such as critical thinking and problem solving. So it is not only focusing on creating literacy and developing the human being with the calculative abilities of numeracy, but it's also focus on higher order critical thinking and problem solving, so that whenever some situations of a complex type exist, the human being should be able to analyze such situation and suggest measures for problem solving. So it also focus on social, ethical and emotional capacities and dispositions. So this policy is not only focusing for providing education to the our young generation, but also focus on developing critical thinking and problem solving so that our various kinds of things can be solved in a better way. So key principles of national education policies, I will be just these are the 8 principles which is focused here. Number 1 is this policy emphasized on respect for diversity and local context. As I have explained in the beginning that Indian modern society is a very complex in nature. There are a number of types of the people, multicultural, multilingual. So this policy has a respect for this diversity and even give due emphasis to the local context in all curriculum, pedagogy and policy. Secondly, this policy has a focus of equity and inclusion as the cornerstone for all educational decisions. If we cover one aspect of our population or one segment of our population and ignore other segments, then it will not be equitable. So equal opportunities for every citizen of this country, maybe male, maybe female, maybe belonging to any culture, caste, creed. So equity and inclusion is the basic beauty of this policy. Then this policy emphasized that there must be community participation in educational sphere. It encouraged and facilitate for the philanthropic, private and community participation. In India, we have so many kinds of educational institutions in which community participation is already there. This policy is going to cover with this and again emphasize that more community participation should be there so that educational needs of equitable and inclusion regions must be ensured. And fourthly, this policy is emphasizing in the use of technology in teaching and learning and removing language barriers for Divyang and in educational planning and management. We are in the pandemic situation these days, and we find that we are not in a position to call our students to our educational institution because of the fear of the COVID-19. Here, the technology is the only source from where we can get in touch with our students. And this policy is emphasized on blended mode of teaching. There will be certain hours or certain days where only technology will be used along with the offline teaching also. This policy is also having emphasis on conceptual understanding rather than rote learning and learning for exams. Exams will be the secondary issue in this new education policy because our focus is not to prepare the rote learners. We have to focus that people should have conceptual clarity and they should be able to use these conceptual understanding for practical implementation and solving their problems. And therefore, this policy has unique capabilities of recognizing, identifying, and them in each student. So we'll be by using this policy or by implementing this policy, we'll be creating a such environment that we can identify and recognize the capabilities in each and every student. Secondly, the critical thinking and creativity will be the key factor of this policy because it is emphasized to encourage logical decision making and innovation. And this is for the first time that it has emphasized that there should be continuous review of these policies based on the sustained research and regular assessment by the educational expert. It is not there that after 1986 you have got the policy in 2020. So there will be regular review by sustained research and regular assessment by the educational experts. So these are few key principles of the national education policy. Now let's come. Oh, this policy has changed the school education structure and how it has transformed curricular and pedagogical structure. Let us see, earlier we were having existing academic structure with the 10 plus 2 years, 10 plus 2 system. Here, 10 year from the age 6 to 16, the people spend, and then 2 years from age 16 to 18, they spend in senior secondary level. So 10 year they spend in the up to the 10th class, that is the secondary level from 6 to 16, and then after that from 16 to 18 they spend 2 year from age 16 to 18 for 10 plus 2 system. But the new educational structure, in the earlier system we were focusing from the age 6, but before this age 6, that is the foundational stage, there was nothing in the policy, but now this policy is focusing on 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 years. So that means student at the age of 3, when he is admitted in the Anganwadi, preschool or Bal Vatika, they will be taken care of. So there is going to be foundational stage, there is going to be preparatory stage, there is going to be middle stage and secondary stage. So 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 system of education will be having. So when a student comes to the Anganwadi 3 to 6, that is covered on the foundational stage, and then 2 years they will spend from class 1 and 2. So from 3 to 8, that is the 5 year will be for foundational stage, and after that 3 years from class 3 to class 5, that is from age 8 to age 11, they will be spending in the preparatory stage where play, discovery, and activity based and interactive classroom teaching will take place. And even in the foundational stage, that is from age 3 to age 8, the focus will be on multi-level play and activity-based learning, and there will not be any kind of books which will be prescribed from them. So through play, through discovery, through activity-based and interactive classroom learning, they will be focused. And thirdly, then we have the stage of middle stage. That is from class 6 to class 8, that is from the age of 11 to 14. There will be experiential learning in the sciences, mathematics, arts, and social sciences and humanities. Because all the three philosophers about whom I spoken in the beginning of this lecture, maybe Guru Rabindranath Tagore, they said that students should be aligned with the experiential learning in the science, mathematics, arts, social sciences, and humanities. So in the middle stage, we will be focusing on experiential learning rather than producing the rote learners. Then we have the secondary stage, which is a multidisciplinary study. Greater critical thinking will be developed, and flexibility and student choice of subject will be there. Now, it will not be there that rightly now, presently, we say that we have +2 art stream, +2 science stream, +2 commerce stream. Such kind of barriers or such kind of barricades will be removed. There will be a multidisciplinary study which will be focusing on critical thinking and flexibility, and the choice will be there. Students will be offered a cafeteria of the courses. So he will have a plate and pick up the whatever dish he want from the cafeteria. That is the buffet system of the various subjects which are multidisciplinary. So he can pick up accounting with physics, he can pick up chemistry with music. So it depends upon the choice of the students, how he want to develop in the future, what kind of skills he want for the profession for which he is going to adopt. So new pedagogical and curricular structure of the school education will be in place right from Anganwadi preschool to 12 years of school education. So this is a total transformational change in the curricular and pedagogical structure. And this is basically because it is going to be activity based, it is going to be experiential learning, it is going to be interactive classroom, multidisciplinary, and there will be a flexibility and the choice of the student. This is going to give a new impetus to the education system in India. So major reforms apart from this which has been taken in the school education include universalization of early childhood care education. So it is not there that in Punjab something will be different, in Haryana something will be different, in Delhi something will be different. The universalization of the early childhood care education will be there, and the local content, local flavor will also be taken care of. Secondly, it will emphasize on foundational literacy and numeracy. Now we are observing that when a student appear in the school education, particularly in the government school, he even passed out 10th class, but his foundational literacy and the numeracy is very weak. So this is going to focus on all these areas, and the current 10+2 system will be replaced by the 5+3+3+4 curricular structure, corresponding to the ages of 3 to 8, 8 to 11, 11 to 14, and 14 to 18 years respectively. And the curriculum which is going to be taught in these classes is going to integrate 21st century skills and focus on mathematical thinking and scientific tempers. Presently, we are creating rote learners. Their mathematical thinking and scientific temper is not there. So, in next policy, no rigid separation between academic stream. Now we are saying that there are certain extracurricular activities, there are certain sports activities, and there are different academic stream. No rigid separation will be there in academic stream, and there will be no extracurricular activity. Even sports, cultural item are going to be part of your curricular activities. And there is going to be support for gifted students and students with special talents. There will be a gender inclusion fund so that the disparities or the inequalities between the male and female education can be reduced. So similarly, we'll be reducing curriculum content to core concepts. The most important aspect is that there is going to be a vocational education to start from the class 6 onwards. So there will be at least one skill which has to be learned by every student, for which he can aspire for further learning in future, so that he can safely create employment for them. So there will be assessment reformed with 360-degree holistic progress card. Every student who will be admitted in the school, he will be having a holistic progress card, and a 360-degree evaluation will be made for every student, tracking student progress for achieving the higher learning. So these are the some changes which has been in the school education. Similarly, the new system will have 12 years of school teaching with 3 years of Anganwadi, so total 15 years will be there. And teaching up to the at least grade 5 will be in the mother tongue or regional language. No language will be imposed on any students. There are many people who are criticizing that they are going to impose Hindi, they are going to impose Sanskrit. Here they have talked about mother tongue. If we are living in Punjabi, so at least up to the grade 5, student must get this education in Punjabi or in regional language. As far as the textbooks are concerned, they are going to be created with local talent and flavor. And there will be a transforming assessment for student development, more regular and formative, more competitive based, competency based, more learning and development of our students, and test higher order skills such as analysis, critical thinking, and conceptual clarity will be judged from the transformation in the assessment process. And it is proposed in the school education to set up a national assessment center, which is known as PARC. Basically, it is performance assessment, review, and analysis of knowledge for holistic development. Every student will be given a holistic development card, and their 360-degree assessment will be judged from that. And new and comprehensive national curriculum framework for teacher education will be developed, which will be known as NCFTE 2021, which will be formulated by the National Council for Teacher Education in consultation with the National Council for Educational Research and Training. Similarly, by 2030, the minimum degree qualification for teaching will be a 4-year integrated B.Ed degree. So the student who has done B.Ed of 1 year or 2 year will not be applicable after 2030. So by that time, whosoever has done will be absorbed. But after that, any person who is aspiring to become a teacher, they have to get the degree qualification, which is based on 4-year integrated B.Ed degree. So early childhood education is the focus of this policy, learning in the formative. So here the focus will be developing curiosity, developing logical thinking and problem solving, having arts, crafts, and music as their taste. There is relationship with the nature, colors, shapes, alphabets, and numbers. There is a more emphasis on teamwork and collaboration, play-based and discovery-based learning, ethical focusing, and the self-identity focus will be the beauty of this policy, and it will develop etiquettes, behavior, and emotional development of the student. So in early childhood care education, the curiosity, logical thinking, and problem solving, arts, culture, relationship with nature, play-based activities, all these will be the part of the formative learning system, so that the every ward or every children who is coming to join an educational institution should become a very good creative and thinker, so that he can innovate and find a better future pathways for him and for the society itself. So this policy has ensured universal access to education at all levels. Multiple pathways will be there, multiple pathways to learning involving both formal and non-formal educational modes. It will build schools, promoting both government and non-government philanthropic organization to build schools. It will have learning outcome, focus will be achieving desired level outcome at all levels, bringing back dropouts. It has been observed that in school education, many people drop out even after 5th or after 6th or after 10th. So bring back dropouts to of the children will be the focus of this policy, and there will be alternative centers, alternative and innovative educational centers, which will be meeting the requirements of the people. So people peer tutoring suitable for all categories, business and personal presentation. So this policy is going to ensure access and opportunity to all kind of children by using these kind of methodologies. There will be a reduction in the curriculum. We will be focusing on core essentials. Curriculum in all subject to be reduced to its core essential. There will be a critical thinking, inquiry, discovery, discussion, and analysis based teaching and learning methods for holistic education. There will be interactive classes, teaching with reduced dependency on textbook learning. Questions from students will be promoted, and experiential learning, fun, creative, collaborative, and exploratory activities in classroom for experiential learning and deeper student learning will be the focus of this policy. So core essential, critical thinking, interactive classrooms, and experiential learning will be the focus area in the curriculum. There will be innovative pedagogy transforming teaching learning process. That is, we will be having experiential learning, integrated pedagogy, will be promotion of having promotion of peer tutoring, equal weightage to all, no hard separation between curricular, co-curricular and extracurricular activity. Every thing will be part of the curriculum, and there will be a freedom of choosing a variety of combination to be provided. Art, science, commerce, these are the combination which were having earlier. Now these will be removed, and there will be certain bagless days to scheduled in the academic calendar where the students will not come with any kind of books, only play activities, learning through experience. All these will be the focus area, and the use and integration of technology in classes 6 to 12 will be the main focus area of this policy. And I have already taught you that textbook with the local content and flavor will be developed. All textbooks to contain only essential core material while capturing any desired nonsense and supplementary material as per the local context. Affordable, high quality, energized textbooks to be provided along with the digital version of the Diksha platform. You are aware about it. So states to prepare their own curriculum and textbook based on NCERT curriculum and textbooks, incorporating state flavor and material as needed. And there will be concerted efforts through suitable changes in curriculum and pedagogy to significantly reduce the weight of school bags and textbooks. So the burden of the students will be lowered, but the content and flavor will be given much power as compared to the older system of education. And there will be total focus on mental and physical health and well-being. Health checks will be organized, reduce weight of school bags, hiring counselors in the school complexes, focus on children with disability, and inclusive and caring culture at school will be created, and mandatory skill, health, and wellness will be the core area where every student has to get that skill. So in this way, the focus is not only educational content but also mandatory for the students to acquire skills in health and nutrition, physical education, fitness, wellness, and sports. So all these will be the focus area of this policy. There are a number of major changes in the higher education also which has been suggested, and it has been focused that by 2035 there will be 50% gross enrollment ratio, which is lower presently, and there will be holistic multidisciplinary education, and you will be provided multiple entry and exit point. Now presently, if a student get admission in the MBA, that is a 4 semester program, but when this national education policy will be applied, you will be given a choice. If even after 1 semester, if you want to exit, that you may get a 6 months postgraduate diploma. If you complete 1 year, you may get postgraduate advanced diploma. So similarly, if you complete 2 years, you will be given a master's in business administration degree. But presently, we don't have such kind of scope in our education system. So as far as our UG programs are concerned, they are going to be 3 years or 4 years. 3 year will be focused on various cognitive skills, and 4th year will be focused on research. If anybody he completes undergraduate program of 4 years, then he has to attend the post graduation for 1 year only. So PG program of 1 or 2 years will be there. There will be integrated 5 year bachelor or master degree And as far as the MPhil degrees are concerned, they are going to be discontinued. The most important and beautiful aspect in regard to the major changes in higher education is the creation of academic bank of credit. That is very important. Suppose if one student has done one degree from Punjab Technical University, he want to move to the Punjab University, then they will pose a certain deficient subject. For example, if you have done BBA first and second semester from PTU, but now you want to shift to the Guru Nanak Dev University, they will say that you have not studied this, you have not studied this. This will be removed when the academic bank of credit will be there. So whatever credit you have earned in one university, that will be credited in your account. You will move to the another university if it is required by you, then you will earn some credits there. And if you have minimum earning of specialized or specific credit which is assigned to earn a particular degree, you will be awarded a degree by that university. So this academic bank of credit is going to be very helpful. Similarly, there will be multidisciplinary education and research universities at par with the IITs, IIMs, and phasing out affiliation system in 15 years. After 15 years, there will be no affiliated colleges. Either there will be universities or autonomous colleges. So national mission on mentoring and the independent board of governors will be there. By replacing the University Grants Commission, All India Council of Technical Education, AICT or NCT, there will be a Higher Education Commission of India to be set out as a single overreaching umbrella body, excluding medical and legal education. They will be separately running. So online self-disclosure based transparent system for approval for the various educational institution will be created. This is a major reform in the higher education. Similarly, there will be a National Research Foundation which will be working for promoting research at the post-graduation and the PhD degree. There will be internationalization of education, and integration of vocational teacher and professional education will be there, so that we can create entrepreneurs rather than job seeker. We will be setting up a new quality higher education institution, has been made easier. Standalone higher education institution, professional education institution will evolve into multidisciplinary. Special education zone for disadvantaged regions will be created. National Institute for Pali, Persian, and Prakrit languages will be there. National Educational Technology Forum will be created, and MHRD to be renamed as Ministry of Education, which has already been implemented. These are the major reforms in the higher education institutions. So higher education institutions will focus on research and innovation by setting up startup incubation centers, technology development centers, centers in frontier areas of the research. And higher education institution will develop specific hand-holding mechanism and competition for promoting innovation among the students community. And the total focus of this policy is on creativity and innovation, so that we can develop entrepreneurs, we can develop job creators rather than job seekers. So this total system of higher education is going to have a National Research Foundation, and the most important beauty is the abolishment of the rote learning system. And we will be streamlining PhD and degrees with research, and Education 4.0 and the National Educational Technology Forum will be developed, and the disruptive technologies will be developed and promoted, so that educational system can take a better way in this regard. So this national education policy is basically focused on creating environment of creativity and innovation. So once we foster creativity, innovation will take place, and once innovation started taking place, no student will ask for jobs from the government. They will be focusing in developing their own centers of incubation. They will be developing their own industries. They will be developing jobs for them also, not only for them, but also for the jobs for the others who are working in this area. So in this way, if we are in a position to implement this policy in a better manner, there will be equity and justice, equal opportunities for all. There will be a focus on our local content and flavor. There will be a focus on critical thinking and developing brainstorming in the mind of every student. And no student will ask for jobs, or they will not be hunger for finding the jobs, but the jobs will come to them automatically if this type of education system we are going to develop. So this is all from my side. So I hope you will be must have been able to find out what changes has been taken place at the school education, what changes are going to be at the college education. In spite of that, you may have some questions in mind that are welcome to us. Thank you very much.
Right, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for the session. And can we take the queries, sir? The
Absolutely,
questions?
you can.
Yeah. So I'll read out the question that is there in the chat box. Anybody, if they have any query, they can write down their questions in the
There is
chat
one
box.
question from
I'll read out.
GK Chadda. He's
Yes,
asking
yes.
that delivery, how about the mode of teaching in the pupil mother tongue? Mother tongue. So, as we know that when we are teaching our words at our homes, we usually speak in our mother tongue. And this policy is not saying that you should not study in the English language or in the international language, but they are saying that as far as possible, education up to the middle primary class, that is the fifth, should be in the mother tongue, so that the values and the culture which we want to imbibe in the students that can take place. But it is not saying that you should not teach to your students in the foreign language. You can teach them, but in spite of that, the certain subjects which should be left to the local language only.
Yes.
Uh, Harsimrat has raised a question that kindly tell regarding the implementation of this policy. The process of implementing this policy has already been started by the Government of India. Various states has formulated the various committees for its implementation. Universities are gearing up. And already in some of the colleges, 4-year B.Ed degree program is already started with, which is known as BA B.Ed program. So as per the UGC guidelines, but still lot needs to be done. I hope because we have been given the time by 2030 and 2035. By that time, this policy will be implemented, and it will be implemented in phased manner, starting from the early childhood care education to the higher education. The steps will be taken in 10 and 15 years respectively, which are prescribed in the policy itself.
So there's another question
Ji, ji.
that how it shall modify the syllabus, so which is at present, which is taught at present.
As far as the present syllabi is going to concern, uh, firstly, the focus will be on the early childhood care education up to the age of 12. After that, then the picture will come to the higher education. As I have said, that the present structure is going to be totally changed. And this change will be implemented. If it is implemented from the next year, so only first year will be affected, second and third year will continue with the old system, and slowly we'll be moving to the other classes. Secondly, regarding the change in the syllabi of the various courses, now in the next policy, next curriculum which we are going to offer to the students, there will not be BSc, BA, BCom, BCA, etc., etc. There will be a 3 or 4-year degree program. You will be offered a cafeteria of courses. A buffet will be there in the educational institution. You will read the prospect of any prospectus of any educational institution, and then after reading that prospect, you will select the courses according to your choice. Suppose you want to be expert in physics, but you have a taste in music. Why don't you study in 3-year degree program or 4-year degree from one subject as physics, another subject as music, third subject as accountancy, fourth subject as language of English or Punjabi. So it will be your choice. Along with the chemistry, you want to study history, it's your choice, because it is your future which you are going to make in the spheres to come. So therefore it will be your choice. So institutions will be offering cafeteria of sorts, but this will need a restructuring of the educational institutions. We will need more focused teachers. The emphasis in this policy is given on the various aspects of focus on teaching and learning, development of the teachers, how they can be trained, attracting the talent in the teaching profession so that we can have a right kind of perspective. So I think slowly we'll be moving toward that.
Yeah. Also, there's another question that how would this new education policy is going to improve the employability?
Absolutely. I started with this notion that when you are going to develop creative people, creative thinker, and they are going to innovate, and they are going to be job creators, not job seekers. So definitely it will create employment opportunities. So therefore, there should be no fear in the mind. Again, when we think of whether this is going to create employment or not, or whether this is going to solve the employment scenario in our country, definitely when every person is so creative, so innovative, and he can develop the skills of entrepreneurship in them, definitely there's no going to be a scarcity of jobs. It will help to reduce the unemployment scenario in our country.
Yes. So we'll be taking two more questions. This question is by VK Chadda. He asks that is the policy, this policy will make the education less costly?
Absolutely. Dr. Chadda has given a very important clue to me, because this policy of education is going to have a virtual system of education also. There will be so many massive online open courses where those students who just want to have a skill, they can have their skill by joining the MOOC courses free of cost. But if they wish to get a degree, or if they wish to get job, for example, some kind of examination they want to appear, they may appear by paying some nominal charges. So education at the doorstep of the student is the key area where this policy will be focused. Secondly, when you say that it is going to be less cost effective or not, or less costly or not, definitely this is going to create a environment of competition among the various stakeholders. So it is already said in this education policy that those institutions which are not working well, charging heavily fees from the institution, and their student strength is less than 3,000, they are going to be closed down by the 2035. So 15-year time has been given to them to either upgrade themselves, or either becomes cost effective and relevant for the this education sector, or either they should close down. So I think this is going to make the education more cost effective rather than costly.
Yes. Okay, this the last question we'll be taking. Do this policy going to make? Yeah, that's the same question. Yeah. So
You
I think
already
that will
answered
be
this.
also. Thank you very much. Yes, yes. So now I would like to propose a vote of thanks to the eminent speaker, Dr. Ashwani Balaji, for sparing valuable time out of his busy schedule. Thank you so very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
And has elaborated about new education policy very nicely, and the policy which has brought various major reforms in the education. We're really very thankful to you, sir, and I hope that it has definitely added to the knowledge of students and faculty about this policy. And I'm also thankful to our worthy chairman and principal, sir, for allowing us to organize such session. Once again, thank you everyone for making this session a success. So thank you, sir, for the session. It was really amazing.
Thank you very much.
Also thankful to our worthy chairman and principal, sir, for allowing us to organize
organize such session. Once again, thank you everyone for making this session a success. Thank you, sir, for the session. It was really amazing.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank you, sir. I guess so.